last, I can finally say that I have a smooth continent. Here rests the remains of what was once the greatest problem that I ever faced. And here lies its twin brother, blameless and benign, but two had to die. Or so they say, when there is corruption, cut it all the way away until there's clean flesh again. It's the only way to know that you've gone far enough. Whew. Let's go up top and take a look at the latest project. I needed an infinitely resettable counter, and although I had already made one at one point in time, it relies on a dropper counter, and there aren't comparators in this version, so I had to think again. What I ended up coming up with was this. Basically, when an impulse should come through, it'll be enough to set all of the top blocks in their top state, making it to where it needs to run through the entire cycle again before it can give the boot for turning it back off. When it receives the boot for turning it on, not only does it change the state of this torch latch here, but it also will pull a impulse away from the torch tower that controls the TNT and send that off to reset the pulse counter. So if it should receive the command to produce more cobble while it's still counting and making cobble, it can go ahead and do that, since I do believe it can fire quite a bit faster than it can fully refill. And then it'll just reset the counter on top of it. Let's take a look. I can only really fire it twice because it's so many entities. Now that'll look. Actually, I should stick around for it to turn off. Are you moving? Interesting. I'll have to come back and check to make sure that everything's working properly. It may just be a graphical error because of how much stuff is in the world right now. There we are. Let me see where I can stuff it. My inventory is full of shit. Dear God, give me a minute. Alrighty then, finally. Let me... oh, my skin isn't... oh right, of course it isn't. Well, let me go ahead and show you the 9-button panel from the back side. Of course, this has been in the world since forever. And it is what it is, a 9-button panel that changes the buttons up into the roof, and then spreads the signals outwards. There we are. Let's see here. Of course, this one being the middle one, taking care of cobble. These ones here are the timers for the wheat farm, while down there are the timers for the mushroom farm, on each side. Let's see here. Down in... no, those are the mushroom timers. Let's see here. Down in here are, like, I think this is sugarcane and cactus being pulled. Oh, that green block there signifies cactus. Okay, there we are. Let's see, what else is there? My brain isn't working, or that's all of them. I hope that's all of them. Yeah, no, I think that's all of them. So, naturally, of course, the pumpkin and melon farms, although they are hooked up, won't actually produce anything because they need farmland to grow the crops on. And, well, I don't think that... I think I have to till both the farmland below and above them in order to get them to grow, so there probably won't be anything coming from there. However, the sugarcane does work, and we can barely see it working out there, and I should not move from this spot until it actually all arrives to me, otherwise I'll have difficulty, because it's something like 1,000 sugarcane. Now what happens is there's an extension for a somewhat brief period of time, followed by a very, very swift retraction and extension again, and then it retracts again to relax. This allows it to push the blocks outwards, breaking the sugarcane, and then past that, the blocks will land on top of the the sugarcane will land on top of those blocks, and when it retracts and extends again, it'll let those sugarcane fall just a teeny little bit before getting shoved back into the water currents, making it to where it'll be lossless without me really requiring slime, which is quite nice. There we are. Now as for the, let's go ahead and push them anyway. I've pushed them somewhat recently, so there might not be too awful many in the way of drops to come through. But what it does is that timer allows a water pulse to end up entering the... Oh, it is gonna go. To enter the top side and just flush back and forth on its way through the thingy. And I do believe it's pretty much the same design that I had seen Panda 4994 do before, quite some time in the past. Of course, I wanted to keep the waterways out of the way of the front door, so I made it just barely long enough to get the mushrooms all the way across and picked back up again. And of course, we've got the same thing going on over here. It's almost adorable. Looks like it will be giving me right about a stack. Guess it doesn't take all that long to finish recharging anyway. That's very nice. I didn't quite realize that's how it would be. quite some decent bit. Now, the cactus farm. Oh, I don't think we can see it from here. But there's 3 height cactuses with pistons next to the block number 2. That way, when I push the button, it goes and puts a relatively short pulse into it, breaking all the cactuses and sending me somewhere along the line of, 4, maybe 5 stacks out of the 3 layers. I think that the absolute maximum that it could potentially send is maybe 6 stacks at the moment. Oh, yeah, 4 stacks. That's right about right. There we are. Very nice. And then, of course, the last of them is rather laggy, so I split it up into 2. Let me empty my inventory because this one sucks. Uh-oh. Might be time to smelt some of the cactus. There we are. It'll just flood the floors up above. Well, not all of the floors, only the bottommost floor. And the reason for that is because, first of all, there's a lot of lag with all the entities. And then, secondly, if I walk on farmland that does not have a fence under it in this version, I'm very likely to break it just by standing on top of it, which makes the replanting process absolutely cancerous. And so I only have the first floor set up properly, and then I have the rest of them turned off with a lever. That way I can just go back and replant. And one of the funny things I didn't even realize when I was originally making this thing is that a downwards flowing water source from directly above will actually delete things that it lands on top of, like crops or redstone dust or redstone torches, and apparently it's all the way into full release version like 1.8. The Bountiful update where they finally fixed that bug. So, very interesting, very interesting. You find out all kinds of interesting things when you're looking at older versions and finding out from where did things come. Oh boy. I feel like I do that holding my breath every time in a row. I don't even know why. There we are. I can craft that up later when I have more time. Though of course almost better for getting bread than this big ol' thing is this tiny thing. I finally had the chance to go and understand it and put it together some time ago. Oh, let me look. How much is in there? Everything is good to go? Pretty much, yes. It's got a pair of bud switches or something like that up inside of it. Let's see here. You can kind of see the there it is. You can kind of see it from right there, the extended piston arm, and yeah, those are responsible for switching the state back and forth to open this skylight here. Yep. There's the piston, making it to where it's either a light or a dark room, depending on what's what's necessary at that point in time. Now, I don't think that many people will appreciate it too much, but the sound really is music to my ears. There has to be at least a half a dozen different piston sounds in the game, because I hear literal music while it's playing. So, and I don't have note blocks in it, so it's just very, 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 very nice. I like the experience. Oh, right, of course, I have plenty of ice. Too much ice, one might say, but who could have too much ice when they have some plans like I might have? In a sense, a lot of this place is about scale. I've been having trouble breathing past few days, but I'm healing well. Let's see here, but yeah, like I was saying, this place is really about scale. I mean, we've got the tiny little houses over here, and we've got ginormous barns, ridiculous skyscrapers, medium-sized houses, alongside small-sized factories. Just, scale is one of those things that I really played with a lot in this town. You know, all to the same scale with the farms. You know, the melon and pumpkin farms used to just be a couple of small strips out in front of the barn. You know, but over time, you know, I started building an automated one. You know, of course, not really knowing that I had to till the farmland every single time, and it wouldn't be until future versions that I could even use it. And then while I was building this, TT 1998 ended up releasing that, you know, which was, of course, now the best. So naturally I abandoned building where I was and went and started building on that. And then eventually ended up moving my original one up into the sky so that I could continue harvesting from it, but it would also be out of the way. This house here will look ugly for a while, but I think in future versions it might look okay. Now, they're only storage houses meant for storing, let's see here. Dirt's in one of them, netherrack in here, more netherrack in here. I've left the door open for some reason. Wonder why I left the door open. But just a bunch of netherrack. Main reason is because it's too valuable to burn, but too plentiful to keep in main storage, so they need to have deep storage sites. And each of them is occupying only a single chunk, with no chests going over the chunk borders, I do believe. If I've done it correctly, at least. And then down below here is my, double skeleton spawner. There's nothing too special about it. It is hooked up and working, I mean, but there's, you know, nothing too special about it. It's just pretty much bog standard, almost the same as what I showed in that first world tour. And this is, of course, where the two streams combine. I've done a little bit of funny, what's it called? Hitbox magic? Using the slabs and stairs in that area to help make sure that they really reliably go underneath and through and into and... Where's the hole? Oh, there's the hole. But yeah, we can see them in there. They're having fun. They're enjoying themselves. Oh yeah, that's another elevator right there, I suppose. Very nice. But yeah, they'll eventually land down here. I don't feel like punching them. Ah, there we see. Or saw. But yeah, it turned out that I needed to get them considerably above the surface, because I just had not really planned too well when I made the AFK spot, now had I? Or maybe I planned well enough. Gave me a chance to build a little something. Now here's the Temple of the Menger Cube, M4, or Menger Sponge, M4. I think it's supposed to be 81 in height, and since, well, 64 to 2, that's a height of 64 right there, so it meant that part of it had to be buried. I think it looks good enough, for now. I've even hidden a couple of secret little goodies up on top of it that I'll take a look at later. We can almost see it, but we'll take a look at that later. Ah, and then of course we've got the just simple old iron farms. I think that I had originally planned to build 4 of them, but 2 of them are of course out of build height limit, so it meant that I had to stop where I was for at least the time being, and since then I've learned more, so I may end up doing something different, I don't know. But the idea on this one was that these last 3 chunks here in the corner, from the perspective of the AFK spot in the storage room for the mob farm, these 3 are actually not entity processing. So it means that the iron golem could fall over this edge here, and then as it's crossing these 2 blocks here, it's moving over a chunk boundary, and that would mean that it would unload onto disk, and then even if it did violently expand forward and backward, it wouldn't be far enough to reach the lava softeners, because this edge here would be stopping it, only allowing them to expand rapidly forward. And perhaps I'd have a little bit of a lava blade at the very, very end bit, or have something redstone controlled, or something. I'm not even sure, but something. I'll definitely think of an idea. Ah, and then naturally I'm very, very proud of these. I think I'm only 1/4 done building. You know, technically only 1 full slice, which is 2 layers thick. But it really is the smallest pumpkin farm possible. And go figure, I was able to basically rebuild it and wire it still, even in this version. So I'm extraordinarily happy about being able to do that. Couldn't be happier, even. Ah, and of course I've showed the, what's it called? The tree farm here. Now, I do believe that I had, after making this one, built 1 more of them that was an upgrade, even to this, and then made sure that that was in. Oh yeah, that is so very satisfying. Yeah, that's extraordinarily satisfying. I do enjoy that. But yep, it's a good strong machine. I think even if it misses a few leaves due to a little bit of user error when I was building it, the pulse length isn't quite proper. Doesn't matter though, if I had powered it with anything but torches, then that wouldn't have happened. But it's fine, really. Now inside of that hotel there, I had stolen the villagers from a village way off over there, taken them and stuffed them in there for safety. and then a pair of them I went and stuffed down inside of here. That way once 1.2 comes, I can immediately run over here and flip the switch, and then come back 30 minutes later and have something like about 50 villagers. Technically it could make an infinite number, so this is a dangerous machine. Now it did have to move him 2 blocks to get him up there high enough, because I do believe that his head had to be directly underneath the block that the door was sitting upon for him to be able to detect it, and then he had to move down by 2 blocks to be able to be fully out of detection range again to actually break the breeding mechanic. It took a little while to figure that out because I didn't have much help, because not too many people enjoy playing on old versions. Of course, there have been a few people that have always been helping me. They definitely help make things a lot easier. Alright, let's show the smooth continent. Like, my god, just... I'm so happy with this. Because the error that was over there was preventing me from smoothing this out. And now, for the first time ever, I can actually walk through all of this area without it freezing. Nothing but a grave marker. Now, I used to not be able to visit out there. I may be able to visit there now. I don't necessarily need to do that right now, though. But, yeah. From sea to sea. A flat continent. I'll need to come back with a torch. Extraordinarily happy about this. It's beautiful. Extremely satisfying to look upon.